Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining me in just another Tuesday night where we are going to talk about four most interesting topics in the timeshare industry over the past week. This is now we're talking about week six. We're technically, guys, when week seven, but the topics we're going to cover are week six. Before we get into it, I just want to again appreciate, thank you, and say that I appreciate each and every one of you that joins me on a Tuesday evening. I know there are plenty of other places you can spend your Tuesday nights talking about timeshares, but I'm glad that you choose Tug and me to enjoy your evening and chit chat about what I feel, at least, are the most interesting topics covering the timeshare industry over the past week. And getting right into it, without further ado, I see people starting to tune in right now. Thank you so much. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. The very first item we're going to talk about are some marketplace upgrades. Now, I will say that one of the most fascinating things about Tug, although it's not unique, I'm sure there are plenty of other sites out there that operate this way, is the Tug was built based on feedback from its users, from members, from other owners. So, hi, Claire. Awesome. Thank you for tuning in. It's all right. You're allowed to miss them. We do it every week. We're glad when you could join us, but understand when you can't. I certainly appreciate you spending this Tuesday with me so we can chit chat about these topics and love to see you hear your input. But going back to what we were just discussing is member feedback, owner feedback, and the Tug site has developed. I mean, you would be amazed. For those who go back in the Wayback Machine, I think it goes back to maybe the late 90s, early 2000s is the last thing we can see. And you could see that each individual page on Tug was an actual unique web page that was written and modified in HTML, probably using Notepad back in the day. This was long before I was involved. But there were volunteers that would manually update those pages, and as the site grew and as the internet grew at the time, there weren't HTML editors that we take and can't just type into AI to have stuff changed and super easy. But we still get, due to the fact that the overwhelming number of people that use Tug, feedback and suggestions. Not all of them positive, many of them are negative. But hey, if you can't take criticism and make improvements to avoid that, well, that's your own fault. So we are happy to get any sort of criticism, any sort of feedback. If it makes the site better and it's something that we can implement, we're happy to do so. And what do we wanted to announce? We did announce it about a month ago, just after the first of the year. We implemented some new features to try and make the marketplace an easier, more user-friendly navigation. Now, and over the years, we had modified the marketplace, but really the feedback we got was from people trying to sell or rent their timeshares. Owners trying to sell or rent, which is, obviously the core of Tug. More than half the people that join Tug are looking to sell a timeshare. A large percentage of them are also looking to rent a timeshare. But that can't be successful if people looking to buy and rent timeshares themselves can't find the listings or can't easily navigate the site to access those listings. Hey, Jim, thanks for tuning in. Good to see you. So we have constantly made changes to the marketplace to try and make it more user friendly, make it easier for the average person who may not be a timeshare owner, but found out that they could rent a timeshare, that they could buy a timeshare on the resale market. Make it easier to navigate. And I'll bring over this page here real quick to show you guys what the main change. If you can see in the back there, we have now added to the overall results list. When you go and search the marketplace, you can come there. There are 4,000 plus active listings on Tug. And one of the most unique features about Tug is that all of those listings have been posted or renewed within the past 90 days. So we don't get into the semantics or marketing doublespeak of just having a ridiculous number of listings. Yes, there are thousands of listings active at any given time, but we to make sure we have active listings, not stale listings, not just listings that are posted and just sit there forever because they were rented or expired. The marketplace will automatically remove a listing if it hasn't been renewed or within the past 90 days. It'll automatically renew a listing if the usage date passes. So when you see something in the marketplace, it is going to be current and active. So when we boast about thousands of active listings, we truly have those, and we feel that the vast majority of those are still available, not something that's just been posted and left to stagnate for months, if not years at a time, as some other sites tend to market having a huge number of listings, but they could have been posted a decade or more ago because they never expire. So looking at this, we've just added a much more detailed way to view. For example, if someone is looking for all free timeshares or all I think this is last minute rentals, to be perfectly honest. I think this particular query. So we're just looking at all these, and so you can quickly and easily navigate and see, the shows the ad title, shows the check-in date and the checkout date. Is it 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom, and the rental price. And one thing we are implementing, I will say that is coming. We are going to add below over here. You can see. Got to look at the different screen. over here, we're going to add the per night price. People have been asking for that. It's another very popular site uses that, even though, most people want the total price, but it's nice to see a per night price. So this is a full bedroom, a full, week long listing. So we'll just have to, the big problem is coming up with a way to divide by, less than week long rentals. If we all just divide by 7, we could easily put that in there. But working on it, so we'll have a per night rental here. But even if that, I say, oh, that interests me. I'd love to go to Eagle Point. You know, in March, obviously the last check-in date, they have a floating week there. And so you can actually click to view the listing. And this is we announced this a few weeks ago, but this is the new format for all resale and rental listings, where you have your own dedicated page that not only has a far more pleasing layout that you can see all of the details and all of the information and easily reach out to this person. They probably shouldn't have their phone number on a screen, but they posted that listed on the site. Contact them directly. But more importantly, now members who have posted these can use this particular URL at the top. You can't see that because it's totally hidden from the screen. So super, super awesome. So sorry about that. But you have your own URL that you can access to post this on social media, to share it in an email link with someone, to post it on Craigslist, post it anywhere you want, so someone can come directly to this page, see all of the details on your listing, and be able to contact you directly if they happen to be interested. Lots of people had clamored for that, and a way for them to easily and more conveniently share their tug listing wherever they wanted to post it. Maybe it's on local chat room, or sending out an email to friends to see if they're interested, so they don't have to copy all of this data anywhere else. So just having these quick options, and just modifying this results page, because again, our last minute rentals, you look at how small. I don't know if you can see how small this is, but there are hundreds and hundreds of active rentals, and I'm pretty sure these are all last minute. They're all going to expire in the next within the next month, or I think it's 40 days, 45 days. So 6 weeks ish. And so, making this so that I don't have to click on, that was one of the biggest comments when we previously had it. People had to click on each listing to see the details, but now you can see the ad title, which has a good bit of information in it, filled out by the person who posted the listing, the check-in, check-out dates, 2-bed, 2-bath, and the price. And with that, you certainly get a general understanding of what the listing is, and if that's something that is going to meet your needs or something that's not. And if you do want more details and or to contact the member, just clicking on the view listing option instantly brings up all of the exact details on the listing. Shows the view, at contact, you can see their full description that the person typed in if there's something unique about the listing. So all of this stuff is been provided 100% by user feedback, by member feedback, both people posting listings that want to see more information, and people browsing the marketplace to be able to find rentals. Because the more people that find the Tug marketplace and rent off of it, the more successful rentals are going to be made, the happier the Tug members are. They're going to be posting their rentals, and thus more people will continue to post resales and rentals on the marketplace. Tug gets better, Tug gets better, Tug gets more popular, and the fact that it provides a completely free listings for members to be able to post their timeshares for sale and for rent. No commissions, no large upfront fees, no hidden fees at all. All comes included with the Tug membership. We feel that there's just not a better bargain out there for trying to sell or rent your timeshare than the Tug marketplace. So again, we're trying to make it easier. If you do have any feedback, or you find something glitchy or a problem, or you wish something just to happened in a little bit different way, or a great feature to add, like the per night price, which was a suggestion from a member, please send us an email. I will never, ever, ever get upset at criticism. Even if you hate the site, you hate the layout, you hate it, as long as you have a solution. One thing that I've always been, my father always drilled into me, and I'm sure many of you are aware, is don't come to me with problems without a solution, or at least tell me how you feel it should work. Just telling me you don't like something, or something doesn't work the way you want, doesn't help me improve it. Yes, you've identified a problem. Tell me how you would fix it. Tell me how your solution to get it done. And if we can make it happen, and that's an improvement to the site, we'll absolutely have it implemented as soon as possible. That's how all of the site has been modified over the past 30 years to provide, a much better and more user-friendly version of what we had. We're probably on the 100th different version of the site at this point. So again, never hesitate to send us email. There's a contact form at the bottom of every page. Click the Ask button. It will send an email directly to us. I'm copied on all of those emails, so I will personally see it. And again, if it's a positive change, a solution that we can have, and we can get done that it makes the site better, we will absolutely implement it, and have done so hundreds of times over the years to make the site what it is today. Hey, Fred, thanks for tuning in. Glad you're able to join us on this Tuesday night. We just covered topic 1, which is new improvements to the timeshare marketplace. We are going to go into option number two. One thing I've been doing, my New Year's resolution is to go through some of the oldest advice articles on Tug and bring them into the modern age. And what's wild to me is for this particular one, this is the timeshare scam and advice. We do have another one that's timeshare scams and fairy tales that covers postcard companies and scam calls and so on and so forth. And this kind of covers that as well. But this was one of the original articles written. It was written in the early 2000s. I want to say 2004, 2005. And oddly enough, it had been modified slightly over the years, and there have been changes made. But I want to say this one probably hasn't been physically updated in over a decade. But reading it, the information's still valid. The warnings are still valid. The articles inside it and the suggestions and the examples of the scams haven't changed. And it's just wild to me that these scams have truly existed, even if I didn't touch it, even if I didn't change the template. So it's a much nicer format and user friendly and search engine optimization and mobile friendly, which is a big option for a lot of people. That the older formats and the older HTML, plain HTML versions didn't play well on phones. And I will say that over the past few years, we've had far more people access the Tug website on mobile devices, iPads and phones than desktops. We've tipped over the 50% mark. And now I want to say 55, 56% of all traffic to the Tug website is from a mobile device, which is awesome. But, we do need to obviously ensure that everyone who comes and finds these pages, they can view that on a mobile device without it just looking utterly terrible. Hey, Fred, glad I joined the group. I just sent back the paperwork to Kings Creek Plantation for a deed back. That's fantastic. I am super happy that you found Tug, found the surrender option that you could make that available. Reached out to your resort and accepted. That's outstanding. If you don't mind my asking, how much, if anything, did they charge you to surrender your ownership back? I know there's a lot of Kings Creek owners out there. I've seen that regularly, that people do ask if there's a surrender option, since that is a timeshare that is regularly given away for free on the resale market. So I'm just curious if they currently have an official surrender program or nothing. Wow, that's outstanding, man. I couldn't be happier for you. I'm super glad that one, you found Tug in time to avoid an exit company. That's the best part, and I'm super glad you brought this up. This is a great example, because had you contacted XYZ exit company, they would have told you, Fred, we're certainly glad you reached out to us. We're certainly glad you found us before finding anyone else, because we cancel King Street Plantations timeshares all the time. We absolutely specialize in getting rid of your King Street Plantation timeshare or any other Spinnaker timeshare. It's only going to cost you, $500 a month or $7,000 up front to get into our program, where we can guarantee we can get you out of your King Street Plantation timeshare. And so many owners fall for this because it gives them a quote unquote guaranteed solution. They don't care that it costs thousands of dollars. They don't care that, what the solution happens to be. They just know that the key points is, one, I'm going to be done with my timeshare if I, pay this money right up front, and I won't ever have to worry about it again. And it's not going to hurt my credit. At least they make it seem that's going to be the case. When in actuality, again, just like your situation, I'm not saying that it happens for all timeshares, but the fact that you are able to reach out to Spinnaker or King Street Plantation, explain to them that you're a happy owner, it's paid off, you want to give it back, and they have a solution for you to allow you to surrender that ownership back. It seems free of charge, so that's outstanding. We had heard previously some Spinnaker owners were charged a fee to surrender their ownership back. Been getting you getting calls by exit companies or upfront fee resale scammers to quote unquote help you get rid of your timeshare. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. But I'm truly happy that Spinnaker here in 2026. Did you have to pay your 2026 fees? I'm guessing, or did you start it in 2025 and not have to pay them for 2026? Either way, it's a win. I can't urge people enough that their first step should be to reach out to the resort. Now, on the flip side, I just got an email from heard from someone today who tried to give their Wyndham timeshare back, and they were told that they had already accepted too many here in 2026. Too many people had tried to surrender back, and thus they were not allowed to surrender their paid off. Wyndham it wasn't a shell, it wasn't it. It was a regular Wyndham ownership, 154,000 points. It wasn't even Club Wyndham Access, it was Club Wyndham Select or original one. So it is, the system is not perfect. The system is not universal. So while Fred enjoys a tremendous win here and being able to give his Kings Creek Plantation back for free, not all owners have that luxury, but you'll never know unless you try. And I cannot express enough that just because you got a no for an answer 3 months ago, Ask again, ask regularly, ask every week. I don't care if they say no every week. Keep asking. Emails are free. Emails are super cheap. A little bit of your time to fire that off. Be persistent, be squeaky wheel, be frustrating, make it clear that you're not going to pay anymore and that you need a solution to get out of your timeshare. Because if they think you're just going to continue to keep paying, it's easy for them to say no. So either you're going to accept them saying no and you're going to continue to keep paying for your timeshare, or you're going to convince them to work out a solution for you to surrender your ownership back. And who's going to win? How desperate are you? How hard-headed are you, in which you're not going to let them win and you're going to fight back and you're going to push back until they provide you with a solution that is agreeable to both of you. It's not always going to be free. It's not always going to be pretty. It's not always going to be easy. But if you don't take no for an answer, it is going to end up as a success. No maintenance fees owed. Kings Creek is separate from Spinnaker. Spinnaker is just the operator of Kings Creek. Did you work directly with the Kings Creek HOA or Spinnaker? It sounded like you mentioned earlier that it was an official program with Spinnaker, that they, everything is handled through them. You're just, the deed back form was uh, given back to them, and you're just doing everything with them, or was it the homeowner association at Kings Creek that approved your surrender back and you're dealing with them? I'm genuinely interested. I'm going to post about it here if you haven't already done so. I can think of at least 3 or 4 separate Spinnaker Kings Creek deeds and titles. Okay. I know a number of people, Spinnaker owners, whether it's Kings Creek or not, that are looking, have reached out in the past, with some success and some not, to surrender it back. And again, that's always why we suggest reaching out regularly, constantly giving it back. Oh, reposted already? Fantastic. Awesome. Just got to get it out there just to remind people that, hey, I tried last year. I can't tell you how many times I hear it. I reached out to them. They said, no. Well, when did you reach out to them? Oh, that was, 2004 or 2024. You didn't ask it all last year. Maybe I did. Maybe I forgot. Now everyone seems to only think about it when their maintenance fees come due. So they get a maintenance fee bill. Ooh, I need to ask now. And the fact that a whole year went by, or 6 months, or whatever, that you could have sent an email every single month. It only takes one yes. You could get 50 no's. It doesn't matter to you. That didn't cost you anything to send those emails. But one yes gets you out of your timeshare. So be persistent. Constantly reach out. Weekly is probably not going to be beneficial. But hey, how annoying do you want to be to try and get this process moving forward, moving in the right direction that results in you getting out of your timeshare? I would at least once a month is not an unreasonable amount to be very polite. I always like to say, play the victim. Playing the victim is way more successful than playing a jerk. I can't sure I could use another term, but sending an email that says, I demand you get me out of your timeshare. I'm so pissed off and you're being angry. That's, they probably get 500 of those a day, and it just goes right into the I'll deal with that later bin there. But having a heartfelt, genuine email explaining that I've been a happy owner for 10, 20, 30 years. My timeshare's paid off. I find that I'm not able to use the product anymore. I'm struggling to pay for my maintenance fees. We're retired, I'm fixed income, medical issues, whatever the case happens to be. Begging, pleading for a solution to surrender your ownership back. And this is, of course, when you can mention that I've already tried to give it away. I've already tried to surrender it to you in the past. My only other option, if you aren't going to help me, is to stop paying for this. I don't want to stop paying for this. I don't want to be a deadbeat. I don't want to leave other owners on the hook. I don't want my credit to be dinged. But you are not giving me any other options. It is a heartbreaking situation. It is a terrible situation that many owners find themselves in. But either you are going to convince them to work with you to surrender your ownership back, or you're going to have to start paying to force them to work with you to surrender your ownership back. Those are really the only 2 options that so many owners find themselves faced with in this day and age. So kudos to you for reaching out to your resort and negotiating something. I truly hope that we're able to have more stories like this, where more and more resorts will offer some sort of solution to owners. Hopefully it's free like yours. That is certainly a rarity in this day and age. But again, you never know unless you ask. You never know unless you try. And even if you're told no, always ask repeatedly. Going on, we talked about timeshare scam and advice for owners. That was the new. I don't think I had a page for it. Look at it. Again, the page is looks like all the other Tug advice pages, but now brought into the 20th century, has some great information for anyone who finds it. And now people that find it on their mobile phones will find it much more user friendly, probably much higher in the search engine optimization rankings. And I can assure you that you will continue to see more and more of these older articles brought into the modern times. I've been neglected for some time. they have essentially been replaced by in traffic wise for people accessing them by other articles, but that doesn't mean they're any less important or any less beneficial. And even if one person a week, or they get much more traffic than that, but even just one person a week reads it and finds it beneficial and is avoiding a scam because of something they read on Tug, that's the entire reason the site exists, and that's why all of these articles and these web pages are free and open to the public for any owner that needs help. They can get it on Tug, and if you can't find it on Tug, click the link to send us a question. We answer questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without any fee being asked of you. It's free and open to the public. If you got timeshare questions, we got timeshare answers, and we are happy to give any timeshare owner in need the help and advice that they need completely free. Going on to question number 3, a new Disney credit card. Now, we don't normally promote stuff like this, but it happens from time to time where something comes up that is truly a pretty darn good deal, for lack of a better term. And so for this one, this is the new. Let me share this tab. The new Disney credit card launch. Hey, Billy, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Fred Nimitz, I just know CVN68. I didn't catch that before you posted that. New Disney credit card launch. This, to be honest, the details of this card kind of seem it's one of those kind of too good to be true type things. Obviously, on the downside is a $149 fee involved, but on the upside, while it says here on the title, it was a $600 bonus. I want to say that you got almost $900 in the first year if you purchased and made it the end of purchases. I think it was you got $300 if you made 1,000 in the first 30 days of purchase, and then another 300 if you do 2,000 within the first 3 months of purchase. And all of this is spending it at Disney resorts, including tickets. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all have seen how much Disney tickets cost these days, but if you're taking a family to Disney, that $149 is going to be put back in your pocket pretty quick. It also offered up to 10%, I think maybe it was 10 to 15% discounts on purchasing items in Disney. Did not let you pay your maintenance fees on this card, because that would just be like the ultimate card if they allow you to do that. But someone did indicate that when you earn these perks, you can actually get one-to-one exchange gift cards for your perks and use the gift cards to pay your maintenance fees. So technically, you can pay your maintenance fees of the card. You just don't get the obviously you get the rewards on top of the rewards if you're using the rewards to pay your maintenance fees. But it's truly some where did I find the posting of this? Let me see if I can open it up and share this tab. Points guy had a great. I don't want to share my cookies. Let me get down to the summary of this, which was super awesome. Where are we at? 200 Disney rewards dollars, spending $200 in US Disney resort space. So again, you spend $2,000, you get 200 Disney rewards dollars. That covers your entry fee right there. And I can't. You get that every year. If you're going to Disney multiple times, you're taking it. I think it also Disney Cruise Line bookings guarantee if you take a Disney cruise, you're spending $2,000. So that pays right there. And then one-to-one rewards also get discounts on theme park tickets, DisneyStore.com, purchase Disney movies and AMC theaters. I'll say the other one was awesome. Another $100 statement. Ever spending $200 more on U.S. Disney's theme park tickets. What's that? One ticket these days? To almost one ticket, you get $100 statement credit. The other option that gives you 10 to 15% off that, the Disney Inspired, where was it? 10% of Disney Plus. Also get 3% on U.S. Disney locations and gas stations. I don't know if those particular perks are useful. You probably have another card that gives you 5% or more that you can use on those purchases. But in terms of if you're going to Disney and you're going to spend money there, this card seems like a no-brainer, even with the $150 fee, which is fairly hefty for a credit card. You're going to get that back especially if you're a frequent Disney traveler or you're taking your entire brood to Disney. You're certainly going to get that money back and then some. And so in summary was $2,000 there, $100 statement credit. Use a full $300 in annual Disney credits. You get $900 in value for the new card, $600 in welcome offer plus $300 in annual benefits after meeting the eligible spending requirements, which one trip for a bunch of people or 2 trips to Disney is easily going to cover that. And plus, you get a statement credit for $120 for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. So if you have any of those, that's $120. That's now your annual fee is $29 to own this card. So again, I'm not seeing any downsides to this particular card if you are a regular Disney traveler. I should probably name the card, shouldn't I? That would have been a great idea, wouldn't it? It was the Inspire. I think it's spelled differently. It's Aspire, Inspire. Come on, it's got to be here somewhere. Surely a Disney Inspire, not there. I remember the other popular card was the Aspire card. Also talked about on the forum, but Disney Inspire card. If you are a Disney traveler, at least check into this card. I'd be willing to bet that you are going to make more in savings on this card than probably anything else. Obviously, save your other cards for making other purchases. But if you're a regular Disney traveler going to Disney or taking a Disney cruise, this seems to be the card for you. With that said, going on to option number 3. Share this tab instead. The last one. This is one of my favorite thing of all is when a tug member is running for a board of directors at his own resort. Now, I will say that anyone who has never served on a board of directors, as a director on a board, a homeowner association, condo association, something like that, make an effort to do so. Now, it is very difficult to do at obviously some of the larger resorts because of the developer control and things like this. But you just, I can't tell you how much more enlightening it is to serve on the other side of the table. I serve on the board of directors of one of the associations I'm at, and there are the shift in the way you think coming from an owner sitting in the audience, listening to a board of director or reading stuff and just not understanding all of the not only the information required to make decisions as a board of director, but the laws that you have to follow. There are just some decisions that at face value seem absolutely stupid. Some rules and regulations that board of directors are bound by, and decisions that they have to make just completely seem to go against common sense and logic. But serving on that other side, and seeing the amount of effort and the amount of work involved in dealing with all that, and as a volunteer position, maybe there are some associations out there, I can't think of any, where you get paid as a board of director. I certainly don't, and I don't know of any other people that do. Maybe you get some perks. They fly you out to, I know some resorts will fly people out for the annual homeowners meeting, directors and such like that. But you're not allowed to be paid or compensated for stuff like this. Volunteering to serve because someone has to do it. Someone has to make these decisions and steer the course, steer the ship for your resort, and keep the lights on. You hire a management company to collect all the dues and pay all the bills, and deal with complaints and things like that. But it's still the management company, while they're handling the day-to-day busy work that obviously even at a 7-person or a 10-person board is not able to deal with, sending out all the letters for the annual dues and the annual meeting stuff. So you have to have a management company handle that for a resort of any sort of significant size. But the directors still have to make the decisions. The management companies will bring all the complaints to them, or bring the issues to them, or still have to compose the budget, and the directors have to verify the budget and then approve the budget. And there's just so much work that goes on in running a resort. Even if it's $1 million, you could be talking $1 million a year, even at a mildly large resort. Some of the private resorts, in terms of the budget that you are having to manage, board of directors aren't. There's no. There might be actually, but there's most board of directors aren't classically trained directors. They didn't go to school to be boards of directors. They didn't take some sort of course to become an expert. I've never met a quote unquote expert board of director, or director on any sort of board. They are owners just like you. They are people doing their best, put in a situation where in most situations, most instances, have very little experience doing that. Certainly are not privy to the inner workings of the board at that particular resort. They just saw a need, or were upset at a way something was being handled, and or the way they were being treated in many cases, and decided that they were going to try and effect change, trying to seeing either some apathy or seeing so the way that they felt it was mismanaged, but running for the board, volunteering to serve and make that change is truly one of the most selfless acts you can make. And at the end of the day, you are an owner in that timeshare. You are one of hundreds of other owners at that resort. And if you are not going to step up and perform those tasks, or do that management information, someone is going to do it. You may hate the way that person does it. I will say that I always assumed, when I first started something like this, I assumed that directors were the most intelligent. I'm not trying to insult people and say they weren't. I always thought that someone who running for the director went through some sort of vetting process, or we're the best of us. We're just the smartest, the quickest, the most dedicated, the most what are the words I'm looking for? Just you kind of held them to a higher standard because you thought that they were a level above in understanding and the inner workings of how stuff. That's not the case at all. After you've been there for years, yes, you do that. But when I was first on board, I was scared shitless, for lack of a better term. I'm thinking that, here I am learning the ropes on the fly. I've never done this before. I've never served as a director. I've never had any of knowledge or training or anything on like that, how this is supposed to go. And then you realize that none of the other people on the board have done that either. They've just picked it up where they've gone along. They volunteered to serve. No one is born knowing how to be a board of director at a resort. Even when you serve as a director, in many cases, it could take you a year, 2 or 3 years to come to grips and come to understanding of how the process works, how the budget is supposed to be handled, to be able to read the monthly financials. That was a big thing for me, just the way certain accountants, when you hire a management company, they likely come with an accountant to do, depending on the size of your budget and what level of accounting and auditing has to take place. But being able to read that, how they format, the assets and liabilities and stuff like that, all of that stuff is in most cases gibberish unless you have an accounting degree or a CPA yourself. But for the average person, the way it's legally required to be spelled out, just the average person has to be explained that. And so when you go from just a regular owner, sitting in the audience, listening to a board of directors or listening to a meeting on Zoom, or just seeing an email or decisions made, and it's for owners, it's very, very black and white. It's easy for them to sit back and say that was a stupid decision, or that was a great decision, or why didn't they do this, or why did they that. Those might all be great ideas that those average owners, those 7 people that were elected to do that, didn't think of, and wish that you had come to a meeting and given that idea or sent that email to one of the board of directors. Hey, why don't you do this, or why don't you do that? I will say that of the emails that I get and that I see, I'm overjoyed when someone expresses interest in the association, expresses interest and provides feedback. What sucks is when people just complain. That I will say that's a downside, and you do get jaded over time because you get nothing but complaints from why don't you do this, or why is this done this way? And when we're happy to explain it, what we again, just like we talked about before, telling me there's a problem without giving me your idea of what would make it not a problem or a solution to the problem is not terribly helpful. But most people, again, assume that these board of directors aren't just average Joes, average owners, just like you are. They think that they are, a cut above, or somehow smarter than the average person, or somehow better trained than the average person. When again, most of these people have just stepped up to volunteer their time completely free to try and do their best to run that resort, to maintain that resort and make the decisions that steer the ship and control everything for the other hundreds, if not thousands, of owners at that resort. And they're doing the best they can. Is there fraud out there? Are people, just shouldn't be directors? Absolutely. We see it all the time. But I still firmly believe that the average person that is running for a board of directors as an owner at their own resort, where they really don't technically live there, they own it and 1/52nd of it, are probably the ones that love the resort the most and are frustrated at how things are done, how things have been done over the years, and want to enact a change. And what you find it really comes out to is, the big bad boogeyman that you assumed were, 7 people all colluding against, or sitting behind going, swimming in piles of money, or just making poor decisions for the sake of making poor decisions, is not the case at all. I will say that even poor decisions made by past directors or past boards, when an entire board has been dismissed or has come around to new election cycles, those people made a decision at the time that they felt was best for the community, for the association, with the information they were given at the time. It's super, super easy for you to go back and look at a decision in black and white and say, what on earth were they thinking at that time? They just had to be idiots to do that. And that's just so unfair, because what you're looking at now, again, hindsight's always 2020. So it's way easier to make a decision as a board if I could go back and make decisions 5, 10, 20 years ago. But it's just so difficult to play that game when you serve on a board, because again, we're making the decisions in real time based on the information that we have now. And I will say that I have yet to meet someone, at least not on our board, that in their decision making, yes, we disagree on how to solve a problem, or how to implement, how to do a special assessment, how much to charge a special assessment, what do we focus on for certain things that need to be done like that? And when you raise dues, you have to be able to justify those things. And yes, people disagree on that, but always, always, always the decisions that are made, even if it is increasing dues or levying a special assessment, is not to somehow enrich the board, is not to somehow to enrich the pockets of the management company or the developer, whoever owns the property. It is to ensure that the bills get paid and that the resort is maintained and continues to run at the levels at which all of the owners expect it to be able to run. And those decisions, in almost all instances, are not popular. No one wants to see their bill increase. No one wants to see that they have to pay more money. No one wants to see a special assessment. No one wants to see, but people also don't want to see the grounds or the pool have leaks, and they don't want to see the furniture all nasty, and they don't want to see carpet being worn, and they don't want to see paint peeling off the walls, and all of that stuff costs money. I can only fathom what it must be like to run the maintenance and try to schedule that stuff out for 5, 10, 15, 20 years on a hundreds of rooms, if not thousands of rooms at a resort, to try and keep all that together. I don't envy any director that has that job. So back to God, that was a whole circular logic thing on there. This individual, it was I want to get his name right so I don't Mr. Kane. So if you are an owner at the district, please vote for tug member Mr. Kane. I will say that we will always do our best to promote tug members who are running for board of directors, because in so many cases, especially at developer owned resorts like this one's Hilton, I don't know the inner workings and how many people on the board are developer employees or Hilton employees versus regular owners. But in many cases, it's extremely difficult, if not outright impossible, for a regular owner to get elected just because of the way the bylaws are written and the covenants at many resorts that give the developer just an overwhelming power for the vote. Like each of their vote counts as like 40 votes, or conversely, each individual owner vote is like 1/40th or something like that. I don't know if that's the case at the district, but what really, really happens is apathy. Most owners see that form come in the mail in their proxy and their voting list, and they just whatever, toss in the garbage. I would be shocked if most resorts actually achieved a quorum from owners sending in their proxy, because it is unreasonable to expect owners to attend the annual owners meeting, because unless you own it that week and you're staying there at that week, you're not going to fly across the country. Most timeshare owners don't live in the same cities that their timeshare exists in. So anyone who doesn't live in that city is not going to make the trip to attend the annual owners meeting to put their name in the hat or cast a vote. And very, very few of these timeshare resorts will host the meetings by Zoom. And even so, you can't really vote over Zoom. You would still have to send in your ballot, fill it out, mail it in, or send in a proxy form. So achieving a quorum is extremely difficult, if not impossible, in many of these cases. And unfortunately, when that happens, because there's no quorum, they can't actually have an election. So if you can't count the votes if there's no quorum present for the annual meeting, or at least that's how it works for our resort and many, many other resorts. So at this point, the board can kind of remain the same, quote unquote, developer controlled for years, because they can't ever hold an election because they don't ever get in a quorum. Not enough people, not enough owners cast a vote or send in their vote to achieve that. Or if they do have a quorum, all of the votes are what were provided by the developer, meaning they get the 40 plus or 50 plus to 1 ratio that the developer doesn't. If only, even if only 10% or 20% of the members cast votes, you have just this overwhelming majority of developer controlled votes that they can elect whoever they want. So this is why it's so super important. We feel that any tug member, it's an individual owner trying to run for a board at that resort, we will give them as much kudos as we can, and try and get any other members, any other tug members who happen to own at that resort, to be sure to not only vote for that person, but to fill out your fill out your ballot, mail it in, make sure it goes, so that your vote is counted. And on the off chance that Mr. Kane gets elected here, kudos to you. I don't know if you've served on the board before, served on a board before, but you automatically have my respect for stepping up and volunteering to do that. I truly be interested to see how eye-opening it is for you to serve on a board like that. I hope you're able to enact the change that you're seeking to help better run that resort and make it a much, much better resort, if possible, for all other owners to enjoy. With that said, I babbled on for 40 minutes, kind of a long episode talking about these items. So if there's nothing else, I don't think there are any other topics. Look like we got a half dozen people still online. I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in this week to this week's episode of Timeshare Tuesday recap live. And I think I'm sharing on this. So thank you so much for all of you tuning in. I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. I hope each and every one of you tunes in next Tuesday. Or if you're all getting the newsletter, super hope that you subscribe to the newsletter. It's free. You can go to our tug2.com/newsletter. Get it each and every week. It's free on Saturdays. This is where we get our topics. But for those of you who don't get it, subscribe. And those of you who do get it, look forward to the next 4 topics on Saturday that we will talk about next Tuesday. And I hope to see each and every one of you there. With that said, hope you guys have a wonderful week. Have a happy, what week is this? Valentine's Day. Man, I knew there was a holiday coming up. Couldn't think of it. I had to print some little Valentine's Day hearts for my kids. So happy Valentine's Day to each and every one of you. Hope to see you all next Tuesday. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week time sharing. And good night. Thanks for tuning in.